G'day friends and foes, Arjay here. So I am doing a short video to update people what's happening with the GoFundMe page and electoral petitions. So what happened was the government advertised in several websites, including a AEC website, Parliament House website, etc., that the writs for the election were to be returned on the 28th of June, and that would have meant that the electoral petition period would have finished on the 7th of August. I'm just checking a calendar here. So what the writ is, as I've explained in previous videos, is basically a piece of paper from the Governor-General stating something like, I hereby dissolve Parliament, there'll be an election on X date, the writ is to be returned on Y date, that kind of thing. And then there's a 40-day window in which to lodge electoral petitions, and that would have meant, as I said, that the last time to file an electoral petition for this 2019 election would be Wednesday next week, the 7th of August. And on the 1st of August, I called the AEC to try and find out where on their website I could find there's like a citizenship checklist nomination form thing for candidates, stating things like where you were born, where your parents were born, grandparents born, entitlements to foreign citizenship, what has been done to renounce any citizenship entitlements, that kind of thing. And the AEC informed me, there's phone calls and emails and whatever that followed, that the register or registry, whatever you want to call it, has been taken down because it's the end of the electoral petition period, which was on the 31st of Wednesday, because the writs were returned 1 week earlier than what was advertised. So therefore, it's out of time for electoral petitions unless there is a constitutional challenge on the validity of certain parts of the Commonwealth Electoral Act, including this 40-day time window. And I'm looking to put in such a challenge if you can help me, and I would require a lot more help than what happened with the other electoral petition request for help. With that, we raised probably 600 and something dollars over, say, a month and a half long period. And with that, there's also a check supposed to be coming in the mail, so I'm not sure how much that's for. And then GoFundMe takes out their amount of money as well. So I've contacted GoFundMe about how to just at a click of a button refund those people, although some have told me, I also contacted the people individually, some have told me to keep the money to put to other similar causes, and the other similar cause is this constitutional challenge on the validity of certain aspects of the Commonwealth Electoral Act, as well as other related laws, such as certain aspects of the Common Informers Parliamentary Disqualifications Act, that kind of thing. So I hope to do that before the 7th of August, because that would have been a deadline if the advertised return of writs would have occurred. So that is beneficial to do that. But like I said, I require a lot more help in terms of people please getting the message out, donating, getting other people to donate, that kind of thing. With the electoral petitions, there is a part of the Commonwealth Electoral Act that allows for the government to pay for costs even if the petitioner loses. but it's not guaranteed or anything like that. But under the normal constitutional challenge, that's a lot harder to try and make happen. So anyway, so today is the 3rd, being Saturday, and then also in the news of electoral petitions, there have been 3 lodged apparently, and I will try and minimize this, and hopefully it still records, but sometimes it doesn't work. So let's have a check and see what happens. If I just change the window and then change it back, seems to be still recording. I didn't do it last time. So 2 people apparently have been challenged, and one is Josh Frydenberg, the treasurer, who's also the member for it feels like a bug's on my nose, sorry. And so member for Kooyong in Victoria, and he apparently is being challenged on 2 grounds, and I haven't gone to the High Court website to check if they have details of the petitions yet, because this computer is going so slow at the moment. And then all of a sudden it just randomly went to buy some theme park tickets just now, when I just scrolled up on a news story. So it's going a bit funny. I have to run a virus checker again, of course. So anyway, there is Gladys Liu, who is being challenged apparently over her Chinese language signs. The story goes that there was a purple and white sign done in a style of the AEC official, signs. It can be said to be passing off, despite the AEC apparently claiming that it was fine because they don't own, a patent on the purple and white or something like that. But these Chinese language signs apparently told voters that the correct voting method was to put one next to the Liberal candidate and then, order the rest of the numbers how they saw fit. Was done in Mandarin, Chinese, and was done apparently both by Gladys Liu and by Josh Frydenberg. So that is the substance of one of the challenges, claiming that it was an illegal activity, that it's misleading, deceptive conduct. They should add passing off if they don't have it already. And then there's also a separate one against Josh Frydenberg, who is, believe it or not, according to the information I have, a Hungarian citizen. So that's what the challenge is based on, and this information, just a newspaper article in front of me, to save me having to look up my records, says that his mother was born in Hungary in 1943, and basically it's interesting. But anyway, so Josh Frydenberg, this information came out in probably 2017, in about October, I think. But I also had the information for my High Court writ that I submitted to the High Court originally on the 20th of April last year. That was ignored by the High Court, and they refused to allow me to file. And of course the writs don't include the actual evidence. And Josh Frydenberg was claiming all the time, up until now apparently. I'll just quickly check this. Probably have too many windows open as well. But anyway, there was an article that had, some of his denials, and basically he claimed that his family arrived stateless because he was Jewish. So the Jews apparently in Hungary and Poland, etc., I've think it might have just been Hungary, had their citizenship stripped of them, back in World War II. The facts are that in 1993, any people, as my understanding for all of the EU, that had their citizenship stripped back in World War II for being Jewish as part of restitution to the Jewish people that were affected, they automatically had their citizenship restored back to them and obviously backdated. So therefore, there's citizenship by descent. And sorry, his computer's a bit wobbly as well. So here's some quotes. This article is newdaily.com.au on Josh Frydenberg Hungarian citizenship. So it has quotes from different times Josh Frydenberg has made certain statements on the issue, or statements made about him, such as this one from Malcolm Turnbull. Quote, Josh Frydenberg's mother, Erika Strauss, was born in 1943 in a Budapest ghetto. This is where the fascists had pushed all the Jews in together as a prelude to sending them to the gas chambers. Mr. Turnbull is also apparently Jewish as well. But, then I'm looking for other parts. Is this still from Turnbull? Anyway, so it says she wasn't a Hungarian citizen when she was born, neither were her parents. You know why? The Hungarian fascist government, allied with Hitler, stripped Jews of all their rights, their right to citizenship and a right to life. Her family fled Hungary at the end of the war. It was a miracle they weren't killed, as so many of their relatives were. So Erika Strauss came to Australia as a stateless person. She had no citizenship. She came to Australia. She became an Australian citizen, and she is Josh's mother. So that apparently must all be a quote from Malcolm Turnbull, although it's not clear how it's set out on this article, unless maybe you read the whole thing and make more, be more clear or whatever. So then it says Mr. Frydenberg's own updated filing states that his mother was a Hungarian citizen from 1943 to 1948. It does not include further information on how she was rendered stateless after World War II ended. And then it says about Victorian lawyer Trevor Poulton said there was now a plan to challenge the Treasurer's Kuyon election in the High Court. And a quote from him is, Josh Frydenberg has been totally evasive about how his mother was rendered stateless. And then finally we get a date, and it's 1948. That's 2.5 years after World War II ended. This is not about a family fleeing a Holocaust. So you've got this discrepancy. On what basis does a family in 1948 suddenly lose their citizenship rights? It doesn't make sense. You can't be escaping a Holocaust in 1948. And then it goes on, apparently Mr. Poulton wrote some book called The Holocaust Denier, and denies his claim is motivated by anti-Semitism, which of course is just a stupid thing to claim unless, in his book he says something terrible like that or whatever. And there's got a quote from him, no, I'm not anti-Semitic. I haven't got an anti-Semitic bone in my body. I've written a novel. It's fiction. I don't know what the book's about. It's the first I've heard about the book. But obviously, Josh Frydenberg had every opportunity to, denounce or renounce his citizenship, and he has failed to do so. So I just quickly check something. Josh Frydenberg on Wikipedia, because I think he may well be a lawyer himself. So I have law qualifications. Just quickly looking. Sorry for the gap, so you can just talk about, I don't know, something while I'm doing this. And then I got some juicy information. So, Member of Parliament. I haven't looked at, you know, much of this stuff for a long time, because even with electoral petitions, then on the face of it, someone cannot challenge someone who, you know, is living in a different state or a different electorate, depending on, you know, how you want to talk about things. Here you go, Law Society. So with the electoral petitions as they purported to be, just to you know, clarify that, they allow you to file in an election that you ran in as a candidate, in an electorate for the lower house where you live, and also for the upper house where you live. So just say if you live in, I don't know, the seat of Newcastle in New South Wales, but then you know, you run for the seat of Charlton, or Hunter as it's been renamed, then that person could put in electoral petitions for New South Wales Senate, for the seat where they live, Newcastle, and for the seat of Hunter where they ran as a candidate, as an example. So Josh Frydenberg, this is now Wikipedia, says he studied and earned honours degrees in both economics and law at Monash University, which included presidency of the Law Student Society. So, you know, there's no excuse why a lawmaker being a parliamentarian with probably a year and a half's notice that it was an issue, couldn't have renounced his citizenship in the meantime, which of course would have meant that he was admitting that he was invalidly in Parliament in the 45th Parliament. We're up to the 46th Parliament now. But, you know, he's done the wrong thing. And a lot of people are, you know, talking about the Holocaust and whatever about his particular situation, which, you know, his parents fled from, apparently, in, when was it? They arrived in Australia in the 1950s, apparently. So, you know, after the war had finished, wherever his parents were hiding in the meantime, then, which might have been Poland at the time. Then after the war, after the Holocaust had finished, thankfully for, you know, the Jewish people, then they came to Australia. His mother came on a valid Hungarian passport, and you know, Mr. Frydenberg is a legislator and a lawyer, and apparently was a top law student. Or instead of saying lawyer, then perhaps I can say legally qualified, but only because I don't know if he practiced law, and some people might have a whinge of using, you know, the term lawyer if he wasn't certified. But back in February the 8th, 2018, then I received information from the London Embassy of Hungary that, given a situation that was known then, which didn't even include about, you know, Josh's parents being, or his mother being a Hungarian citizen until 1948, then I received a message from the Hungarian embassy in London saying, according to the circumstances, then Josh Frydenberg, quote, must be a Hungarian citizen, unquote. It is need to be verified only. You know, it isn't the best English, but that's fine. That is why you have to apply for a citizenship verification. So they stated that in the circumstances of Josh Frydenberg, that the person must be a Hungarian citizen. And that's a quote, must be a Hungarian citizen. And that, so therefore they are a citizen. and in order to, you know, get the paperwork done or whatever, to say get a passport or whatnot, all they need to do is to verify their citizenship. It goes into providing a valid passport, original birth and marriage certificates. If they've got a spouse, the spouse needs to attend your appointment and sign the form of marriage registration in the presence of the consular administrator, because obviously the spouse would have entitlements to citizenship then as well. They need to obtain a Hungarian national's ancestors' birth and marriage certificates if they weren't born in Hungary and their marriage wasn't solemnized in Hungary. So if they were married in Hungary, that part's not even necessary. But it's, as I said, it states that given the circumstances, that Josh Frydenberg, quote, must be a Hungarian citizen, unquote. And then there's only, you know, some paperwork to get, say, passport or something like that. Then, you know, people, as I said, are making this about the Holocaust, even though it turns out the Holocaust had already finished before, you know, his mum, you know, migrated to Australia before she, you know, is purported to have lost her citizenship in 1948, in which case it doesn't even directly say that. It just claims that she was a citizen until 1948 on the documents that Mr. Frydenberg has now uploaded to, well, he didn't upload, he provided to, you know, the Parliament. The Parliament's uploaded it. So it's got that he, and you can look it up on a website of the government under aph.gov.au, Australian Parliament House that is, /senators _ members /members /qualifications. So, and I can stick a link up as well in the description of this video. But then it has that his paternal grandfather was a citizen of Poland from 1913 to 1948. His paternal grandmother was Polish from 1912 until 1948. His father was Polish from 1942 to 1948. His mother was Hungarian from 1943 to 1948. And it doesn't go into details as to how they allegedly lost their citizenship. And I assume what is potentially going to be argued is that when they became Australian citizens, that there is a little oath that says that they renounce their citizenship, even though of High Court case law that's not enough. I think that was covered in Sykes and Cleary in about 1993, that it was not reasonable steps, something like that. So what Mr. Frydenberg should have done is, and I do call him Mr. Frydenberg because on the face of it, he isn't eligible for Parliament, nor has ever been eligible for the federal Parliament. So, you know, you're supposed to say the honorary, or the honourable, I should say, blah, 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 for a politician. But if he's not a politician, then it's back to Mr. Just like you and I get called if you happen to be an adult male, otherwise Miss or Mrs. or Ms. whatever. Anyway, so that's an interesting development. But anyway, getting back to things, I would like to put together another GoFundMe page, and please support me in doing constitutional challenges to the validity of certain law, or, you know, sections of law that appear to be unconstitutional, against good government, against good sense, that kind of thing. So, you know, some of the provisions may turn out to be invalid, some may not. We won't know until we try it. So please, you know, like, share, subscribe with this video, click the notification bell subscribe to the channel on YouTube, that kind of thing, and please also donate. And there are a lot more ineligible candidates and ineligible parliamentarians than Josh Frydenberg and Helen Liu, if it turns out that she was it Helen Liu? If it turns out that she broke the law with these campaign signs. I'll just check that name again because Helen Liu may be a different person. Gladys Liu, sorry. So Helen Liu was involved with a alleged spying scandal with Joel Fitzgibbon, of course. So that's why I thought I'd check her name. That it was Gladys, sorry. So anyway, hopefully this video isn't too long and boring, and thank you for your help.